Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep into Chicago's commercial real estate market today.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at something called the Offering Memorandum.
Yeah. And to guide us through this, we're going to have the insights of Michael Linton,
Oh, he's a great resource. Over 38 years in the Chicago market, and he's got this website.
ChicagoDealFlow.com.
Yes, tons of information there.
So, this is a big one, right? Understanding offering memorandums. I mean, they're crucial if you want to get involved in Chicago real estate.
Michael really stresses that.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's just get into it. An offering memorandum?
So it's like, well, imagine you're trying to figure out if you want to invest in a property, right?
Okay.
So it's a document that the seller puts together. It tells you all about the property,
Mm-hmm.
really detailed stuff, not just like, a quick advertisement.
Gotcha. So it's like getting a really in-depth look before you even like go see it in person.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So, what kind of stuff is actually in this document?
Well, you start with the executive summary.
Okay.
That's like your quick overview meant to grab your attention,
Yeah.
gets you interested,
I like-
like a movie trailer.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. And then what?
Then you get into the property overview, like taking a tour but just on paper.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, location, how big it is, the age, any work that's been done.
It's all the physical details.
Yeah.
And then,
Then it's the financial part.
okay. This is where people get really interested, right?
Oh, for sure.
So what kind of stuff are we talking about here?
So, they'll have financial statements, from the past, and then projections for the future, and then they'll have things like net operating income and the cap rate, cash flow analysis. That's all really key for investors.
Yeah.
But then you got to look at the bigger picture too.
Right, right. So how does it fit into the overall market?
Exactly. So that's where the market overview and comparables section comes in.
All right.
And that's where, you look at the local economy, demographics, and how this property stacks up against others.
Interesting.
So, like, imagine you're looking at a retail property in, let's say, Wicker Park.
Okay, yeah.
So in that section, they might talk about, like, foot traffic patterns. What's the average income around there? Are there any, competing businesses?
Helps you see like how this one fits in.
Yeah, and what might happen in the future.
Gotcha. Okay. So, what else is in there?
Well, you also have the legal stuff.
Oh, right. Of course.
Yeah, zoning, any permits, title status, any kind of legal things that might, come into play.
Okay, so this is where like potential problems might be.
Could be, yeah. So, like, say you were looking at a multifamily building in say, Lincoln Park, and maybe it's a historic district. So this section might tell you about landmark restrictions, things like that might limit what you can do with the property.
So it's all about transparency, really, right? I'm curious about this, though. Michael Linton, he's seen so many different types of properties in Chicago.
Right?
I mean, does he have a certain way he does these offering memorandums, like a secret formula or something?
Well, I wouldn't say there's like a secret formula or anything, but he definitely, Michael, he knows how to highlight what makes each property unique.
So it's more about like playing up the strengths,
Right.
making it appealing.
Yeah, and making sure it connects with the right buyers.
Okay, so like you're saying you wouldn't approach, say, an office tower the same way you would like a little storefront, right?
Exactly. They're totally different animals. Like, think about an office building downtown, right in the loop.
Yeah.
They probably really emphasize the transportation, being close to the L, the metro, all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Big selling point, especially for businesses.
Yeah, and then you talk about the amenities, maybe it's got a rooftop deck, a gym, even like childcare.
It's all about attracting those top companies.
And employees.
Right, right.
And then you'd want to talk about who's already there, what kind of tenants.
Oh, interesting.
Like, is it mostly law firms, tech startups, that kind of thing? Gives you a sense of the vibe of the building.
Yeah. Like, is it a good mix? Is it going to be a stable place?
Exactly. Now, what if we switch gears completely? Think about an office park out in the suburbs.
Okay, yeah, totally different feel. Like more space, more parking.
Exactly. So there you'd highlight things like, being able to tap into that suburban workforce. Costs are usually lower too.
Makes sense. And parking can be a huge deal.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially for employees, right? I mean,
Yeah.
who wants to deal with downtown parking?
Nobody. But, okay, now let's jump to something totally different. Those big industrial properties. Warehouses, logistics centers. You know, the ones out by O'Hare.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Keeping all those goods moving.
Right. So for those, location is everything.
Mm.
So the offering memorandum, it'll talk about how close it is to highways, the airport, the train lines, all about that ease of transport.
Makes sense. And then, like, the features of the building itself. Right?
Yeah, like, you know, high ceilings, big loading docks, good security.
Right, right. Got to have all that. Okay, so we've seen downtown, suburbs, industrial. What about retail, like shopping centers?
Oh, yeah, good one. So for those, it's all about understanding the shoppers.
Yeah.
What are the demographics like? What are people spending money on? Who are the big anchor tenants?
Hmm. So you get a picture of, like, the whole area.
Yeah, and you might also talk about potential, like could this be redeveloped? Could it become, you know, like a mixed-use space?
Ah, interesting. Thinking ahead, keeping up with how things change.
Exactly.
Mm.
And then what if you were looking at apartments?
Hmm.
You know, multifamily properties.
Yeah, makes sense. Popular investment.
Oh, for sure. So for those, the offering memorandum, it's going to focus on things like occupancy rates.
So, you know, how full of the buildings.
Yeah. And, you know, what's the rental history been like? What kind of upgrades have they made?
Hmm. Hmm. And then you probably want to talk about the neighborhood too, right? The community.
Yeah. Are the schools good? Parks? All that kind of stuff.
Right, right. Paint that picture of, like, the whole lifestyle.
Exactly. And, you know, just like with the other types, you want to look at, you know, is there potential for rent growth?
Yeah, yeah. What's driving that demand?
Right. So these are just some examples, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
But it shows you how Michael, he really tailors those offering memorandums to each specific property.
That's like it's not just a form you fill out. It's a whole story.
Exactly. And that's what makes them so useful. They're really, really helpful for navigating this whole world of commercial real estate in Chicago.
Definitely. So we've talked a lot about these offering memorandums. What's the big takeaway here?
They're not just documents, you know?
Right.
They're more like, I don't know, a way to connect the seller and the buyer.
Yeah, like they're speaking the same language.
Exactly. And Michael, he always says, a good offering memorandum, it can make all the difference.
So anyone out there thinking about getting into Chicago real estate, what should they remember?
Look at those offering memorandums carefully. Like really study them.
Yeah.
It's like a map, you know? Helps you find your way to a good investment. But you got to remember, each property is different.
Right, right. What works one place might not work somewhere else.
Exactly. So, you know, do your research, look at the numbers, the legal stuff, how it all fits into the market.
It's like you're a detective
Yeah.
looking for clues.
Okay, that's great advice. And, you know, if you're looking for more help, Michael Linton and his team at chicagodealflow.com.
Great resource.
Right, really know the Chicago market. All right, well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into offering memorandums. Hope you learned something. And until next time, happy investing.